Welcome to Access a Trader, the #1 community for those who are committed to taking control of their trading in order to achieve success, profitability, and longevity. Thank you for joining us. Here's Dan Shapiro to help you find your edge, master your process, and own your future.
Hey guys, good morning everybody. Welcome to another edition of the AccessATrader.com weekend update show. Happy Sunday, everybody. It is 9 a.m. Eastern time. I don't know when you guys are going to see this video, but hopefully everybody is having a great weekend. Hopefully everybody is having a great summer, and hopefully you are living your best life. All I ask, guys, if you are an avid viewer of the channel, first of all, thank you very much for spending a few minutes with us. All I ask is take a moment out, click a like if you haven't done so already, subscribe, come aboard, and get notified when we go and have an update. So hopefully everybody is doing well. So let's talk about it. So a few things we knew going into Friday's session. We knew that if you were watching the video all week, we knew that several things technically happened, right? Qs lost the 5-day moving average, lost the 10-day moving average, and we were approaching the 34 EMA. And if you guys remember, we had this really aggressive sell-off going into Wednesday's session, but put it in hammer, right? Put it in a hammer. And we talked about it on Wednesday's video that a hammer usually signals, right, that the bias probably will change very shortly, if not the next day. So it was very puzzling that Thursday's session was literally probably the most irrelevant day that I had in 2025. Like literally nothing was going on. And I get it, right? I get it. Everybody was waiting for Jerome Powell's speech in the Jackson Hole meeting. And I get it. Everything was kind of going sideways. The options market was pretty dead. There was no really aggressive bets on either side. And the whole world was kind of waiting to see what was Jerome Powell going to say. So we knew that part, right? We knew that part. A lot of people believed that we were going to continue with the whole dovish stance. Basically, inflation is being monitored. You know, the whole rhetoric. It's being monitored, and we will act upon more data, and data's on data. Back-to-back data, CPI, PPI, jobs, this, that, the other thing, and nothing for at least a year and change has signaled a monetary change. And another thing we knew about it, for the last year or so, Trump has been, for the better part of it, just been calling for Jerome Powell's head, right? His resignation. Dude, cut rates. What are you doing? It's time to cut rates. He's been asking for his resignation. He wants to be fired. He wants to be removed. He wants to be deported, right? And after a year of this going back and forth with all the Chinese water torture and the lightning bolts through Jerome Powell's testicles, finally, Jerome Powell came out and said, well, our latest data has shown us that there is a potential that the monetary policy will be a little bit shifted, and there's a good chance now, right? There's a good chance now that there will be some sort of rate cut in the foreseeable future. Priced in a lot of traders' reaction to that news, as you could possibly imagine, or not priced in, excuse me, as the market just absolutely exploded on those words. And if you look at the initial move on the NASDAQ 100, the Qs literally rallied from 564 on the first candle to 571 in a matter of minutes. I mean, one of the most exaggerated moves that I could remember in a very long time. And that's kind of what the market was waiting for, right? At least definitely Trump was waiting for. And then Trump came out later and said, well, dude, you should have done this a year ago, right? But what's done is done, right? What's done is done. The past is the past. We can't go change it. He can't obviously go change it. And now traders are, looking for potential 85% chance that there is going to be some sort of rate cut as early as the September meeting, and potentially 2 by year end. Obviously, the market loved that. The Dow went bananas, almost a 2% move, up 846 points, which was pretty damn big. S&P rose 1.5%. and the NASDAQ climbed nearly 2%. But if you look at the action into the week, right? Into the week, indexes were barely up. You know why? Because we got absolutely murdered. And again, if you were, kind of following the broadcast and you knew the ramifications, what happens when you lose the 5-day moving average? Again, we were talking about, nobody's talking about the stocks going to zero, but again, whoever has the control of the 5-day moving average will have control of market sentiment. So we lost the 5-day, got absolutely slammed. And obviously on Friday, we engulfed basically 2.5 days worth of selling. And if you look for the week, the Dow advanced 1.5%. The S&P was, even on Friday's move, the S&P was basically even for the week, plus 0.3%. And ironically, even with the move, right, even with the massive move in NASDAQ's rally, NASDAQ closed red, right? The QQQs, the NASDAQ actually slipped 0.5%. It really shows you the magnifying nature of the selling that we absolutely had. So absolutely crazy week. Again, are we out of the woods just yet? Not yet, right? Not yet. Again, overall, the market is superb, been grinding up. Again, there's nothing absolutely wrong. What I think that the Qs need to do going the next week, and keep this in mind, because we had such a massive rally going into closing into Friday's session, is it possible we get us some profit taken, at least maybe at the open? Yeah, it's possible. Absolutely possible. But the key metric here going into this week, the Qs, as you can tell here, stopped right at the 10-day moving average where they got rejected, right? So if we need a rally, if we continue this kind of recovery from Friday's session, I think we need a close reclaiming back the let's just call it 574. If we can reclaim 574, 575 on a close, then I think we will open up this whole area into potential all-time highs, which are obviously the August 13 high. One catalyst that potentially could get the market back over the hump and reclaim back the 10-day moving average is NVIDIA, right? NVIDIA is coming out with earnings on Wednesday, and that's basically going to put a bow and a ribbon on this week, on this year's earnings season. I know Alibaba reports this week as well, but again, when was the last time I traded Alibaba? Hell, I don't even know what price Alibaba is even trading at. Whatever. But yeah, NVIDIA is definitely going to be the fuel to the potential fire for the indexes. Let's keep an eye what happens on NVIDIA for this week, Wednesday after the close. I don't know. Again, it's been so many different reports over the last year. I'm not really certain if they're going to give any Chinese guidance. There was reports they wouldn't in the beginning of the year, and then there are reports that they will. So it's going to be very, very interesting to see at least how the market responds if there is some sort of China guidance for the quarter. We'll see. We'll see what happens there. Going into the Wednesday's print, again, as you can imagine, you're getting some pretty good option flow coming in on the buy side. The 180s, the 185s, the 190s. I saw some 200s. But more call buying coming in anticipation of a fairly good quarter than the put side. So that's going to be very, very interesting to see what happens on Wednesday. But again, this type of rally, especially after a big decline for the majority of the week, look, it's possible we have an inside day. It's possible there's some aggressive, a potential profit taking from Friday's session. But hey, I would love to see a continuation of this rally going into Monday. Would be great. And I'll share some setups that I like for tomorrow. Also, the Intel White House administration, Trump administration, looks like a deal is getting close, or a deal potentially is done for a potential 10% stake. Again, the funniest thing is, we always hear about, well, if you invested $1,000 in NVIDIA just 5 years ago, you would have $10 trillion. Well, if you invested $1,000 in In Intel, back during the internet craze, you're probably still down like 6-7 points, because the stock was like 32, $33 during the internet craze, and now the stock's at $25. So again, they need something to get this, to get them going. But yet, a deal might be done. Canada is also ready on the tariff front. Canada is ready or almost ready to remove some retaliatory tariffs that was placed on the United States. Obviously, the market liked that as well. But overall, the market, the summer, the euphoria comes back just like that. But as we talk about on a daily basis, again, I'm not trying to guess where the market's going to be a year from now. I'm just trying to take my data, right? My data every single day and apply it for the next day. Win, lose, or draw, it's about the next day. It's not about next Thursday. It's not about Groundhog's Day. It's about tomorrow. And as you could imagine, with this really big engulfing rally that we had on Friday, there were a lot of charts that looked like they were dead only, a day ago. Came back to life, right? Really came back to life. And if you guys been charting over the weekend, and everybody really should, you'll see some really good looking charts. So let's cover some charts. I'm not going to give you a million charts. As you can imagine, you've got to put in a little bit of work, right? But there's definitely some nice charts setting up here for this week. And obviously, we will start out with Tesla, right? So let's review, right? Let's review. Above the 50-day bullish, below the 50-day bearish, right? We had that big run, pre-earnings run, pre-earnings run in July above the 50-day, ran up about 25 points, came back with crappy earnings, got rejected off the 50-day, died again, and this was the latest rally that we had several weeks ago off that 320, put in a high of 350, again, 50-day, folks, 50-day, just tattooed on your brain. 50 days really good. Had that big 30-point rally, came in with the rest of the market, as you can possibly imagine, reclaimed back the 50-day moving average on the close, held it on Thursday on that really non-event day, and then Friday had a massive move, just like everything else, but had a big, massive move, and in the process, reclaimed back the 34, the 20, the 5, and the 10-day moving average. Now, why is this close important? As you can see here, let me just make this a little bit bigger. So as you can see here, right now we are at the top of this channel here, an intermediate channel, not obviously the highs from 2 weeks ago, but we're in this intermediate channel. We saw some really aggressive call buyers coming in for the September 12th expiration for the 350 calls. I'm pretty sure it was the same trader. If not, it's a hell of a coincidence. A buyer came in, obviously a buyer and a seller. There's two aspects of a trade, but we saw a $3.2 million premium hit the 9/12 350 calls, and then about 15 minutes later, another 5.4 million came in for the same expiration and the same price. And Tesla has two big levels here that we need to confirm. Number one, it needs to get above this whole channel here, this 2-week distribution channel on the 814 highs. And then obviously, if we can get above this 349, 350 level, then it opens up this whole world that could potentially go back to the May highs. But this is a very, very important level. So far, as you can see here, it's stopped 3 times here, right? Stopped 3 times here. This is, however, the largest and the highest close in this whole formation. That's really, really good. Look, again, like I said, in the overall market, is it possible, Tesla rests like everything else? Again, remember, it put up a $20 move. They closed at the highs. So it's very possible. But if there's any engulfing profit taking at the open, I could see its potential either later in the day or the next day or so potentially start screaming above this channel. But it's very, very important that we get back above this 814 intermediate channel. Letter U looks really, really good, ready to go again. I had a decent scalp on this thing about a week ago. It's very, very close to busting out. The key with letter U is it needs option flow. Like all these stocks that are not, not institutional darlings. They really need massive flow to get this thing going. On this 39 break that we talked about 2 weeks ago, or was it last week, they came in for the 40 weeklies. I'd like to see this thing start attacking last week's highs, but some really deeper out of the money calls. It would be nice to see like 42s, 45s come in maybe for a week, 2 weeks out. So it's very, very important to watch. But the chart is definitely setting up here. SoFi looks pretty good as well. As you can imagine, a lot of names like this look good. It's attacking the July highs, looks really good as well. Uber, right? Long distribution on Uber that started all the way back on July the 9th. We're talking about, a month and a half here. We're very, very close to challenging the top of the range on Uber. Run had a big, big move with the solar space, had a big 2-day move, consolidated. Keep an eye on it for this week to see if it could get above the August highs. That looks really good. And Amazon, right? Again, guys, there's a million charts, a million charts. But Amazon, just like Tesla, held the 50-day moving average, reclaimed numerous supply zones. If this thing could start building above Friday's channel, it could go back to last week's highs. Again, when you go through charts, whether you did already or didn't, you'll see there's 1,000 setups, right? The only question is, do we rest and have some profit taking coming in on Monday, or do we have a majestic second-day run for now, what looks like a potential rate cut coming as early as September? We'll see. We'll see. Guys, have a great Sunday. God bless. And I'll see a lot of you guys, new faces, in the webinar on Monday. Have a great, great Sunday, guys.